There's a certain type of coworker, the one who doesn't yell, doesn't argue, doesn't openly disrespect you, but still manages to make you feel like everything you do is wrong. Maureen was that person. She didn't need authority. She didn't need a title. All she needed was access. And one day she logged into my computer and forgot to log out. That was the worst mistake she ever made. If you've ever worked with someone who nitpicks everything you do, hit that like button. And if you enjoy stories where karma is quiet, calculated, and incredibly satisfying, make sure you subscribe. Because this one doesn't explode. It unfolds. The office was the kind of place people don't really think about. Not toxic. Not exciting. Just steady. You clock in, do your work, maybe joke around a little, then leave, most days blended together, until Maureen wasn't loud. She didn't dominate conversations, didn't try to be the center of attention. If anything, she blended in. Mid-30s, always dressed neatly. Hair pulled back. That same tight, polite smile. The kind of smile that says, I'm being nice but I'm also judging you. At first, people liked her. She seemed helpful, always offering to review things, always available, always watching. The first time she edited my work, it didn't even register as a problem. I had uploaded a report. Nothing major, just routine. A few minutes later, I got a notification. Maureen, hey, I made a couple of small improvements. I clicked it open. Scrolled through. Paused, scrolled back up, because nothing had changed, not really. She had swapped, because, since, however, but rearranged one sentence slightly. That was it. I remember leaning back in my chair thinking, okay, not annoyed, not impressed, just confused. Then it happened again. Different file, same message. Cleaned this up a bit. This time, I paid attention. Line by line, word by word. And that's when I noticed something strange. There were no mistakes. None. She wasn't fixing anything. She was changing things just to change them. At first, I tried to justify it. Maybe she preferred a certain style. Maybe she thought she was helping. Maybe, but after the fourth time? No, this wasn't help. This was interference. It didn't take long before it spread. One afternoon in the break room, hey, has Maureen been editing your stuff too? I looked up. Yeah, why? Another coworker sighed. She changed like 3 words in my report and sent it back like she rewrote the whole thing. Someone else laughed under their breath. Same, she replaced. Although with even though, that's it. There was a pause. Then someone muttered, I think she just likes seeing her name on things. No one argued. It's hard to explain how something so small becomes so irritating. But it does, because it's constant, relentless. You'd finish something, feel good about it, and then see that notification. Maureen edited your document, and suddenly it didn't feel like yours anymore. Over time, something else started happening. People got cautious. You'd see it in the way they worked. Typing slower, second-guessing wording, rereading sentences not for clarity but for Maureen proofing. That's when I realized this wasn't harmless. This was control. The weird part? Management knew. They had to, but from their perspective, Maureen looked like a star employee, always active, always improving things, always engaged. Meanwhile, the rest of us just looked quiet, so nothing changed. The moment everything shifted for me was ridiculously small. I opened a document she had just edited. She had changed, however, and added 2 spaces after a period. 2, I just stared at it, cursor blinking, and I felt something snap, not loudly but quietly. She doesn't care if it's better. She just needs to change something. That thought stayed with me, longer than it should have. A few days later it happened. She walked over to my desk, fast, slightly stressed. Hey, can I use your computer real quick? I need to print something, mine's acting up. I hesitated, not because I didn't want to help, but because something about the timing felt important. Yeah, sure. She logged in, typed quickly, printed her file, grabbed the papers. Thanks. And just like that she left. I looked at the screen. At first, nothing registered. Then I noticed it. Top corner, user profile. It wasn't mine. She hadn't logged out. I didn't move right away, didn't rush, just sat there. Thinking, because moments like this, they don't come often. I could log her out, forget everything, or I could do something else, something small, something subtle, something perfectly proportional. I opened the shared drive. Her documents were right there. The ones she had already edited, already improved. I clicked the first one, then the second, then the third, and slowly a plan started forming. This wasn't going to take long. In fact, it was going to take about 3 minutes. 3 minutes to turn the office's grammar expert into the person everyone would start correcting. And the best part, she wouldn't even realize it. I didn't rush. That was the first rule, Because this only works if it feels natural, if it feels like her. I opened the first document Maureen had edited earlier that day. A team report. Clean, structured, exactly what you'd expect after she'd gone through it. I scrolled slowly. Not reading for content but studying it. The way she wrote, the way she corrected. The rhythm of her edits. Because if I was going to do this right, I couldn't just make mistakes. I had to make her kind of mistakes. That's the thing about people like Maureen. They leave patterns, you just have to notice them. She didn't overhaul documents. She nudged them. Shifted them slightly, just enough to leave her mark. So that's exactly what I was going to do. But instead of making things better, I was going to make them just slightly worse. I hovered over a sentence. However, the results indicate a positive trend. I clicked, paused, then typed. But however the results indicate a positive trend, I leaned back, looked at it. It was wrong. Not obviously broken, but uncomfortable. The kind of sentence that makes you pause but not immediately accuse. Perfect. Second document. Different report. I scanned until I found something simple. Their performance improved over the quarter. Click, delete, replace. Their performance improved over the quarter. Just once. Not everywhere. That was important. Too many mistakes and it becomes suspicious. Too few and it goes unnoticed. This had to sit right in the middle. By the third document, I found a rhythm. Scroll, pause, adjust, move on. I wasn't thinking about revenge anymore. I was thinking about balance, precision, execution. In one file, I added an extra space in the middle of a sentence but removed one at the end. In another, I rewrote a sentence so awkwardly it almost made sense. The data which was analyzed shows results that are better in comparison than before. Technically readable, emotionally wrong. Time moved strangely in moments like that. Slow, focused, controlled, but when I finally stopped I checked the clock. 3 minutes. That's all it took. 3 minutes to touch every document she had edited that day. 3 minutes to plant just enough imperfection to shift perception. I didn't linger. Didn't double-check obsessively. That would break the flow. I logged out of her account, logged back into mine, and just like that everything looked normal again. Same screen, same desk, same quiet office, but underneath it, something had changed. The hardest part wasn't doing it. It was waiting, because nothing happens immediately with something like this. There's no explosion, no instant reaction, just time. It happened later that afternoon. I was halfway through something when I heard it, a voice from across the room. Wait, what? A pause, then, is this supposed to say, but however? I didn't look up, didn't react, just kept typing. Another voice joined in. That doesn't sound right. Chair movement, a file opening. Then the question, who edited this? A beat. Maureen did. Silence, not long, just enough. That silence said everything. Because for the first time the doubt wasn't pointed outward. It was pointed at her. The next day it happened again. Different document, different person, same tone. Hey, I think there's a mistake here. Someone else checked, scrolled, paused. Yeah, there is. And again, who worked on this? Maureen. That's how it starts. Not with certainty, but with repetition. 1 mistake, that's nothing. 2, maybe coincidence. 3, now people start paying attention. By the third day something had changed. You could feel it. Before, when Maureen edited something, people would just accept it. Now, they checked, closely, carefully, and when they found something they said something. Hey Maureen, I think this should be there, not there. The tone was light, polite, familiar. The exact same tone she had been using for weeks. She smiled. Oh, yeah, good catch. But there was a pause before it, a fraction of a second, barely noticeable, but it was there. Later that day, Maureen, this sentence reads a bit awkwardly. Another smile, another nod, another tiny pause. It didn't hit all at once. That's not how confidence works. It erodes. Slowly, quietly, one small doubt at a time. I didn't insert myself, didn't push it, didn't overplay anything. I just watched. Listened. Occasionally glanced over when I heard her name, and every time I saw it, that hesitation, that recalculation. You could almost hear her thoughts. Did I really write that? How did I miss that? Was that always there? Because that's the thing about subtle mistakes, they don't feel external. They feel like your fault. And that's when it fully clicked for me. This wasn't revenge, not really. This was balance. For weeks she had made everyone else feel uncertain. Now, she was experiencing that same uncertainty, not exaggerated, not amplified, just reflected. A few days later it almost unraveled. She walked over to my desk, holding a printed document, one of the ones I had edited. My chest tightened just slightly. Hey, she said, pointing to a sentence, does this sound off to you? I looked at it, kept my face neutral. It's a bit awkward, yeah, she frowned. I don't remember writing it like that. There it was, the moment, the closest she had come. I shrugged. Maybe just a typo, a pause, then a slow nod. Yeah, maybe, and just like that it passed. After that, I didn't need to do anything else. The effect had taken hold. The pattern was established. Now everything that happened next would be natural, because the real shift wasn't the mistakes, it wasn't even the corrections. It was what happened to Maureen when she realized she couldn't trust her own work anymore. At first, nothing dramatic happened. No confrontation, no meetings, no sudden tension in the room, just small changes. The kind you don't notice unless you're looking for them, and I was looking for them. Maureen slowed down. That was the first sign. Before, she moved quickly through documents. Confident, automatic, open, edit, close. Now she lingered. You'd see her scrolling longer than usual, rereading sentences, pausing, like she was searching for something or trying to prove something to herself. And once doubt creeps in, it doesn't leave easily, because it's not loud, it doesn't announce itself. It just sits there quietly asking questions. Did I miss something? Was that my mistake? How did I not catch that? The rest of the team picked up on it too, not consciously at first, but the energy had shifted. Before, people braced themselves when Maureen opened their work. Now, they watched, curious, almost expectant. In the break room one afternoon, "Hey, has Maureen been making more mistakes lately?" A shrug. "I thought it was just me." Another voice. "No, I saw one earlier. Something didn't read right at all." A pause, then a quiet. "That's weird." That was the moment everything flipped, because now Maureen wasn't the standard anymore. She was being measured against it. Later that day, "Maureen, quick thing, this sentence is a bit confusing." She nodded. "Yeah, I'll fix that." Another, "I think this should be there." "Right, thanks." Still polite, still composed, but slower, less certain. If you weren't paying attention, you'd miss it, but I saw it. Every time someone corrected her, a slight tightening of her jaw, a fraction of a second before responding. Quick glance back at her screen afterward, like she was double-checking herself even after the fact. As for me, I stayed quiet, neutral, just another person in the office. No sudden changes, no extra attention, because the moment you push too hard you risk breaking the illusion, and this only worked because it felt real. Days passed, then a week, and the pattern didn't disappear. It settled, became part of the environment. Maureen still worked, still reviewed things, but differently, carefully, almost cautiously. You could almost reconstruct her thought process from the outside. She used to trust her instincts. Now, she questioned them. She used to edit freely. Now, she hesitated, because every time she made a change there was a lingering thought, what if I'm wrong? Confidence doesn't vanish all at once. It leaks, slowly, through repeated moments of doubt, and that's exactly what was happening. At the same time the rest of us started relaxing. You could feel it. People stopped overthinking their writing, stopped second-guessing every sentence, stopped preparing for Maureen. Work flowed again. Naturally. Even conversations changed, more relaxed, more jokes, less tension. One afternoon someone joked, "All right, I triple-checked this Maureen proof." A few quiet laughs, not cruel, just honest, and that's when it really hit me. This wasn't about getting back at her. It was about restoring something. Balance. Before, she made everyone else feel uncertain. Now, she understood that feeling herself. Not exaggerated, not weaponized, just shared. There was one moment where I thought she might figure it out. She was at her desk, scrolling through a document, stopping, going back, scrolling again. Then she opened the version history. My chest tightened slightly, because if she looked closely enough, if she compared timestamps, if she really thought about it, she might connect everything. She stared at the screen, still, focused. Seconds passed, then she leaned back, closed the document, and moved on, and I realized something in that moment. She wasn't looking for someone else's mistake. She was looking for her own. Because when doubt takes hold, you don't question the system. You question yourself. A few days later I heard it, soft, almost to herself. "I don't understand. I've been making so many small mistakes lately." No anger, no defensiveness, just confusion, and something else, something quieter. Humility. After that, things changed for good. She stopped editing unnecessarily, stopped rewriting people's work, stopped inserting herself into things that didn't need her. And when she did give feedback, it mattered. It was relevant. It was helpful. The office felt different. Lighter, more natural. People trusted their own work again. And Maureen, she blended back into the team, not above it, not correcting it, just part of it. Some lessons can't be taught directly, you can't explain them, you can't argue them, you can't enforce them, they have to be experienced. Felt, understood from the inside. Because sometimes the most effective way to show someone what they're doing is to let them feel it themselves. Not louder, not harsher, just clearly. If you've ever worked with someone like this, you already know how frustrating it can be. So tell me in the comments what's the most subtle revenge you've ever seen. And if you enjoy stories where karma is quiet, precise, and perfectly timed, like, subscribe and stick around. Because the best stories, they don't shout, they unfold.
If you like stories where people finally get what they deserve, click the playlist on screen and binge the rest.